Hello.
Hello and good morning. How are you doing today?
Well, thank you. Nice to talk to you.
Oh, it's a blessing to be talking with you, especially when it comes to this book, because we need this so desperately. Because we've got to get back into loving and cherishing our teachers, because they are the seed planters that really build the future.
Totally agree with you. Totally agree with you. And if it just sort of sparks a conversation, gets people thinking and talking, that's what I hope will happen.
You know, one of the things that your book, Lessons Learned and Cherished, it really opened up my eyes and heart to which teacher would get top teacher, but they're all connected. I mean, my second grade teacher let me write as a second grader, but it was my 11th grade teacher that said, please stay in school. I'll let you write in class every day if you just don't drop out. I mean, it's all connected.
Yeah, it is all connected, and I heard so many of those stories. I mean, Errol, it may sound a little hyperbolic, but I had one or two people who said to me, a teacher saved my life.
Yep.
Saved my life. And certainly not in some, drastic, tragic, suicidal way, but just somebody who was there, and you could have gone in any direction had that person not sort of intervened and told you that either you matter, that you're smart, that you can do better than you're doing. I mean, all of those messages. And what I loved so much about putting the book together is, while in many cases, yes, we talk about the academics and the class that you did well in. Most of these stories have nothing to do with academics and everything to do with you as a person and achievement and how somebody saw something in you that maybe nobody else had seen.
Oh my God, reading about Brooke Shields. I mean, I already love Brooke Shields because she's just so down to earth and grounded. But to hear her story just makes me just embrace her even more.
I know. And, that was what was so great about it. I mean, I've gotten to know Brooke a little bit over the years, and when I reached out to her and she shared the story about her professor in Princeton, I thought, wow, what an important story. This woman who, one of the most beautiful women in the world, arguably, and grew up, modeling and acting, and you would have thought, the world is her oyster. I mean, what does she have to even think about or complain about? And you know what? The fact of it is, she never really thought that anybody thought she had an opinion or had smarts. And so she goes to Princeton and she gets this professor who says, okay, so tell me what you're thinking about this or that. And she almost looks around the room as if to say, me? And this professor gave her permission to sort of stand on her own and to actually assert herself and to say, you've got something to add to the conversation. It was in college when she learned that. And I thought, if Brooke Shields can feel that way and have somebody spark some enthusiasm and confidence in her, you can only imagine what somebody else who has so much fewer to work with might feel and might have had their lives affected by a teacher.
Yeah. You talk about college. We need to salute the trade school teachers and instructors as well. Those that don't have that diploma to be a real teacher, but yet they've got that experience and they are dedicated to the soul.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And that was the thing that I thought was so interesting. In some cases, Rachel Ray, for instance, her case wasn't really so much about a teacher, but it was about her grandfather getting her ready to go to school and the lessons that she got from that grandfather. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. They may not all be sort of the cookie-cutter version of just the classic teacher. Many times, Ken Cole, the designer, talked about his principal, who allowed him to leave school and go and work with the Mets one summer for 2 or 3 days for one of the big national championships, and it taught him so much about work. He goes on to become like this, entrepreneurial spirit because he learned that there was more to life than just the books. Yeah. He learned about passion and getting out there in business and so forth. So there were lessons that people gleaned over the years that may or may not have had to do with the academics that they were working on in school, but everything to do with who they might be as a person or could possibly see themselves becoming.
Yeah. In a very real way, are you not a teacher being a journalist? Because are you not educating your viewers?
Well, that's a very good point. And, and I think I take what I do so seriously because I think in some ways I don't really think about teaching. I think about imparting and certainly sharing information and thoughts and all of that. So I guess you could say in some ways, yes. And I take that very seriously when I do it, and probably because I had such great teachers. I mean, I talk about my librarian, Kathy Talon, who I connected with over this book, who just had she taught me yoga. I'd never heard of yoga. A little girl in small town Georgia, and some of us stayed after school and did yoga with her. And she said today that might even be an issue. Parents might wonder. It might be a little suspect. What are they doing in that library? She taught me yoga, but she taught me to kind of think outside the box.
Yeah.
Think a little bit about the world in a bigger, different way. And those are the kinds of lessons I think that stick with us over the course of years.
Wow, you bring up the librarian. That reminds me of Ponderosa Elementary School, where I was that boy that went into that library, and there it was, "Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret." And my librarian said, I want you to read this, but I want a book report, and we're going to talk about this. And she was so understanding, the exploration of life.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I wanted to convey, that there's no straight line here necessarily about how everybody was impacted. Everybody's story is so different, and that's what I love about the book. First of all, they're essays. It's not like some big chapter that you have to go from one to the other and you missed this, so I need to go back and what did this. No, they're different stories from different times, and I think that it's a great, great opportunity to not only share it with a favorite teacher in your life or your child's favorite teacher, but just somebody who might also just appreciate teachers and just enjoy stories. Anna Quinlan, the award-winning writer, talks about a teacher who, and she went to a Catholic school, and the nun who said to her, "Miss Quinlan, you are a writer." And nobody had ever said that to her before. And the confidence that gave her to go on to become this award-winning, Pulitzer Prize-winning writer. I mean, you don't know and you don't think about the moment where teachers changed lives, but they certainly did.
I'm so glad you also included Jenna Bush in this, because we all know of the family connection, because to me, it's the great education. But to get to hear her side of the story in such a personal, in a book moment.
To hear her talk about her, and so openly and honestly about being a little bit insecure. Her twin sister, Barbara, was so much more accomplished than she was academically. And Jenna was sort of like becoming the class clown. That was the way she sort of got through. And for her to say, this woman whose father wasn't president at the time, but was growing up in a family, a dynasty there, whose mother was a librarian, so she's in an education field, but to have a teacher say to her, "You can be," and for Jenna to think, wow, nobody's ever said to me, "You could be." Yep. And this teacher lit a fire in her. And I just thought that was so remarkable that you wouldn't think that from a Jenna Bush-Hager. But she had her moments of doubt too, and that teacher was right there at the moment to inspire her. So many of these stories, and it's a reminder, and I hope more than anything else, it's a reminder to all of us that teachers need us right now. They are leaving the profession in rates that they haven't in a long time. Job satisfaction is low. They are feeling disrespected. They are feeling disregarded. They're under a lot of pressure to do so much with so little. That's why so many are leaving the profession. We need to remind them that they're important, that they matter. We need to remind local governments. We need to remind all of us that we need to come to the rescue of teachers right now and make sure they know that we need them, we want them. We want to give them space to do the kinds of things that teachers have done over the years, and that, we need to change the trajectory.
Yeah. Some of the things that teachers have done, they go to stores. They take what little money they've made and they buy things for their students. They're not trying to be a hero. They just want to make it right.
That's exactly right. And Misty Copeland, the noted ballerina, talks about how her teacher bought her ballet shoes just so she could learn to dance. Her teacher did that for her. And, listen, we know teachers don't go into the profession for the money because it's like not a very well-paid profession. They used to go into it because it's a higher calling. Yes. It's something they want to do. They most of them, or the majority of them, have had or do have second jobs. So we know that's an issue, and the pay issue certainly needs to be dealt with. But more than anything else, they need to feel that they are respected. Teachers are like lower on the hierarchy in terms of having some decision-making in what they're doing. They need to be brought into the conversation and heard. And I think if nothing else, if this will get us going and thinking and talking about this, maybe we can kind of change the narrative at the moment.
With your connection in journalism, are you going to turn this into like a big series, something that we can sit there and visibly watch? Now that we've read the book, we want to see the moving pictures, or maybe even a podcast where we hear the physical voices.
Well, thank you for that. That's a good idea. Maybe that, I've been thinking since this book came out, of ways to sort of keep it going. And I'm working right now with Good Morning America about a way to do a story, just sort of try to keep it out there in the spotlight, to talk about where we stand, what's going on, hero teachers, not only just, difficult moments, but also maybe some moments that we can celebrate. So this is a whole area that I want to really sort of capitalize on. So, yeah, I think you're right in the podcast. Maybe I need to look into that. That might not be a bad idea. Oh, just another job. That's all I need.
That's right. Please come back to this show anytime in the future. The door is always going to be open for you.
I would love it. Be careful what you wish for, because I may go knocking again on your door in another week or two. I would love it.
You be brilliant today, okay?
Thank you so much, and you do the same. Nice talking with you.